Hey everyone, welcome back to Bridge the Gap podcast. I'm
And
Lauren,
I'm Scott.
and it's a bit chilly today in South
Yes.
Carolina, which is really
Ridiculous.
annoying considering, I've been saying I didn't want it to get warmer early because it's only March and April,
Yeah.
but now I got all like prepared for it. I shave my legs in every shower now, and then now it's cold again. And I'm like, so what was that for?
Yeah. Seriously. Yeah, it's like 51 degrees here and it's windy. So it feels even
Mm.
colder. It's only going to it's going to get in the 60s. Let's not be like too dramatic about it. But nevertheless, it is cold for
Yes.
April. I'm wearing a sweatshirt, for God's sakes.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. So, yeah. So good new week. Weather's colder than it was last week when we shot. That's for sure.
Yeah. I was
Um,
sweating when we shot last week because of the sun coming in my window. Once we were done, I was like, I need to change my shirt. Like, I feel gross now.
yeah, seriously. So yeah, what's happening? What's going on? What's in the world? What's a 21-year-old dealing with right now?
Well, mom came
Mm,
and visited me.
that's right.
It's the local school's spring break in my hometown. And it's nice to go home and visit you guys, but it's also like it's just a little different when you guys come to visit me here
Yeah.
because it's like I've grown up in that house. So it's like I know what's in Fort Mill. Like there's no like element of surprise or new things to try. So
Well,
like it's fun when I know we're growing a lot, but
I
like
was gonna say it's not
in the scheme
entirely
of
true.
in the grand scheme of things. But then when y'all come here, it's a lot of fun because I'm also learning new spots as I live here. So every time y'all come, I'm like, "Oh, we can go here. Like that's a cool spot to go or we can do this." It's just more fun to kind of do it that way.
Yeah.
But it was good. It was fun. It was a nice little girls trip. We went shopping because what else do girls do when they're left alone? Um,
That's
no, we went shopping
pretty
because
sexist. Hmm.
um we went shopping because I'm working a wedding this weekend, so I needed to get a dress that was appropriate for it.
Yeah.
Um then we went to dinner, watched a movie, and then we picked up my best friend after her lab and we went to a bar because why not? And the um men's March Madness final was on. So that was a lot of fun to just be in there and watch the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was good. It was a lot of fun. And then I'm just working the rest of the week, pretty much. Like
Yeah.
that's all. That's all I've got now. That's all she wrote.
Yeah. No, it was a good trip. It's spring break here for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let me rephrase. We still do spring break around Easter. Um, I don't know why. Colleges never did because their semesters are so much shorter, but I don't know why other schools evolved away from that. I mean, it's like evolving away from Thanksgiving. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just do spring break either the week before or the week after or the week of, But yeah, so
Yeah,
it's
it
spring
is.
break.
It is weird to me because I wish at least colleges gave like the day after, at least so people could go home and like
Yeah.
see family if their family is close.
Right. Yeah, it's weird. Like when I was a kid, that was the second biggest holiday, really. You had
Mm-hmm.
Christmas, which was obviously huge. And then the second favorite was Easter because we always had spring break. Yeah, Christmas was the biggest holiday, obviously. And then the second one was Easter because we knew we had a break. Like we had a full week. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like you always, as a kid, and then, it's cool to get a basket full of candy and some small gifts or whatever, like it was kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
And then I don't know why we evolved away from it. It's just,
It's always so funny to me too, because I used to look forward to Easter, obviously, for like the candy and the Easter bunny and like all that kind of stuff. But also, yeah, the break. Because first semester, you've got a bunch of fun stuff. You've got football season. And even in elementary school, there was more going on in the fall. Thanksgiving break, Christmas break, you've got a lot of birthdays, there's Halloween, like
Right.
a lot of fun stuff. And then spring semester, it's like there's no, and it drags forever.
Yeah.
And you've got Valentine's Day when you'd exchange candy, but once you get into high school, they don't do fun stuff like that anymore.
Yeah.
So the only break you get is Easter break.
Yeah.
So I used to love Easter break.
Yeah. And like now, I don't know. Like, I think, I don't know what it is. I know your aunt, they live in California, and there's Easter, like their spring break was last month.
Yeah.
Like sometime in March, I think. So it's like just this random week, not tied to anything. Like, I don't understand why not tie it to, arguably the second biggest holiday from a traditional standpoint, I guess.
Yeah. Religious standpoint. Especially because Passover for Judaism also overlaps. And those are the two largest faiths in our country, right, is Christianity and forms of Christianity, and then Judaism.
Right.
So it's all in the same, like, it's one of the only time periods that our holidays overlap. So it's like, why wouldn't we?
Yeah, it's weird.
Honor that. I don't know.
I don't know either. Who knows? But
I just work here.
Right, exactly. I'm just trying to make it.
Who knows, man?
Yeah, seriously. So anyway, so that was good for you guys to get together and see and hang out and do stuff. So that's good. And then what else is happening in a young person's world? What's happening?
Do I have to share it now?
Sure. When else are you going to share it?
I don't know. I don't know if I was ready for everybody to know just yet.
All right. Well, then we can hold off. That's fine.
Gives people suspense.
Yeah. Tune in next week.
Give them something to think that what do you guys think I'm going to say?
Tune in next week.
I'm having a shotgun wedding, everyone.
No. Well, no chance.
No, don't worry. There's no chance. Thanks, Dad. You asshole.
I didn't mean it from that angle. I meant it from your mom would kill you.
Well, it sounded like because you went nah, and then you went, well, no chance.
That's because I know your mom, not because of what your dating life is like.
Because of my lack of dating abilities.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Your mom told me the story when you guys were out. Like, I know it's a recurring theme, but why can't you people just freaking talk to one another? It is unbelievable.
I can speak if I'm not interested in them whatsoever. I can make a billion friends in a night, but if there's one person I find attractive, I won't speak a word. We'll play eye tag, and then I hope he comes up, and if he doesn't, then he becomes a remember when. The end.
It's so ridiculous.
But we talked about this. Traditionally, you believe the same way that, yes, women can go up to men. We've talked about that. But, like, it's the guy's job. You teach a guy to be brave. You teach a guy to be courageous and protect women and stuff. So they should be the ones that want to protect women by asking them out.
Pretty sexist to just assume that it's the man.
I don't just assume. It's just, for my situation, it's going to have to be, because I don't.
It's crazy. Like, you guys, like,
I don't talk.
You're out having a good time and you just stand there. It's like going to a 6th grade dance. People just stand on the sides looking at each other. Nobody, because girls, you won't do it. The guys won't do it. So then it's just this old school. It's like a silent movie. You guys just stand there and stare at each other, and we're supposed to read subtitles. It's like the dumbest shit I've ever seen in my life.
That was funny.
Yeah, it was pretty good, right?
Okay, I know Mom told you the story, but the bar she went to, that's the vibe of the bar. My best friend, her mom put in mom's comments on Facebook how she was like, we need to get together and go out with the girls. So then if we go out, then they'll see us out. I mean, I've talked to people, but I need the liquid courage first. I really do. I need liquid courage, and it needs to be really dark in there.
Jesus Christ. You sound like a guy 30 years ago.
Well, they need the same thing, I guess. I don't know.
It's unbelievable. you people are just a mess. Like, I don't
I know.
understand. This is a full on good discussion for nature versus nurture. Like, this is fantastic topic because there's this age old debate about, is it nature that shapes you or does it the nurture part, right? So
Nurture.
well, that's why let's talk about that, because your mom and I raised you and your brother very traditionally in the sense of the way that
I meant nurture.
yeah. What?
I meant nurture, not nature. I said nature, right?
No, you
Or did
said
I say
nurture
nurture?
first. That's why I said
Guys,
it's
I'm still
interesting.
waking up. I'm not even halfway through my coffee yet.
Yeah.
So have mercy.
So we raised you guys the way that really kind of the way we were raised, meaning we didn't sugarcoat you guys. We were not participation trophy parents. We were not helicopter parents. We were there was discipline, there were consequences. We've already talked about
FAFO household.
Yeah, like we already talked about the one episode where I made you smash up your iPhone or iPod.
Yeah.
I mean, we did consequences. If you guys misbehaved, you were held accountable, and we set expectations. You guys had chores without allowance. You guys have jobs as teenagers.
Yeah.
Like we raised you guys to be independent, strong, confident. You know, kind of the way we were, you know, Gen Xers. It was like, you know, rub some dirt on it. Let's freaking go, you know? I mean, we were definitely softer than our parents were, but we weren't like a lot of parents are, where they're just, you know, Johnny can't do anything wrong and it's the teacher's faults, or it's the, you know, friend's fault. My son or daughter's always just caught up in it, you know, like,
Yeah.
That's what I hear a lot of parents like. And we weren't like that. If you got in trouble, we were like, what'd you do? You know what I mean? Like, we never blamed the teacher or the coach. We
well, it's process of
first.
elimination. Yeah. If we told you the story and then you guys were like, wait, that's the reaction by the adult was uncalled for, then you guys would be gung-ho for us. But listen,
yeah, of course.
That's why sometimes I came home from school and I just didn't say anything, because I was like, they're gonna email my parents anyway. Like, I'm already screwed. Like,
right. Well, you guys.
I'm just gonna wait for the email to hit.
You guys can't get away with anything nowadays, but
such bullshit.
Nevertheless, you know, like we held you accountable. And you know, your mom works at a high school, and you know, she tells story after story that, you know, a kid got in trouble and the parent comes in and argues against it, and then they show them video evidence of them doing it, and then the parent will blame something else. You know what I mean? Like, the parent,
their friend's influence. I told them not to hang out with that kid.
Or it's like it wasn't hers, or
like,
she just put it down her pants. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, there's always someone else to blame. And so it creates this society that's unaccountable because they're never held accountable for anything. And
yeah. And like, I feel like a lot of, real quick, I feel like a lot of the accountability that's lacking is the fear of parental consequence. You know, like, not in a sense of like abuse, right? But like, I knew when I messed up, I was like, oh God, please don't call my parents.
Right.
Not because I thought you guys were going to beat me, but I knew you guys were going to hold me accountable.
Right.
And so that's what I feel like that's what I think my major like gripe with like gentle parenting or passive parenting nowadays that we talked about before is the lack of parental consequences. So these kids just don't care.
Right.
Because
she got gonna happen anyway.
You got caught with a vape in school. Well, that's fine, because my mom's going to come to bat for me. If hypothetically, if I ever got caught with a vape in high school, I would have been absolutely pooping myself. And I would have been like, you know what? At this point, just take me to jail instead. Like, I'd rather just go to jail. Don't call my parents.
Yeah.
But you're a minor. We have to. No, you don't.
Right.
I'm 16 in the state of South Carolina. I can tell you.
Well,
no.
Let's not even start that. We'll have to talk about that another time, because that's that's bullshit. But anyway,
I know.
Yeah, it's true. And so that was how I was. Like, there used to be a cartoon television show that was called Wait Till Your Father Gets Home.
Yeah.
And that was like a real thing, except our moms were equally frightening, like your grandmother and your me mom. So, yeah, it was like, oh my God, just don't tell my parents, please, just don't tell. I promise, I'll never, blah blah blah. And then they always told your parents.
Or
Anyway.
if you're gonna tell one parent, don't tell my dad.
Right. So
I got the wait till your father gets home sentence in my childhood as well.
I know.
Mom would have already punished me first, but guess who's coming home?
Yeah.
In 2 hours? Dad.
So, yeah. So that's the nature part, right? So you would think the way that we raised you, you would be able to stand confidently, because you do in other situations, because we raised you to
every other situation.
When you were a young teenager, we sent you up to the counter to buy stuff on your own without us, because we needed to force you to be independent and understand what to do and blah, blah, blah. So that's the nature part. Fast forward to nurture, and we can't control what all your friends' parents were like, but I know some of them were not as Gen X-y as we were with raising their kids, which is fine. I am not right in any of it. Everybody has their own way. But you had friends whose parents weren't as strict. And so does your brother. We used to hear all the time, you guys are so much more strict than my friends' parents. Okay, that's great. We rewarded freedom when you earned it. You didn't just assume freedom all the time.
Yeah.
And
I never thought you guys were stricter. I just knew that I couldn't
follow through.
Yeah, I couldn't dick around like some of my friends could. Like they would do things without fear of consequence, because they're like, oh, I'll just tell my parents, blah blah blah, they'll believe me. Right. I was like, whoo.
Yeah.
Like, my parents, like, I didn't think you guys were strict. I just knew that there were rules, there were boundaries set in place, and so I knew not to cross those. And if I were around people that started to, I'd be like, yeah, guys, I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
Because I will not be caught up in this.
Right. Well, there's consequences to your actions, and
that's what I'm saying. Boundaries and accountability. Yeah.
Once you get out of school, that's the rest of your life. You know what I mean? Like, we can try and be a kinder, gentler society, but the reality is the world doesn't give a shit. So you have to be resilient, and you have to understand boundaries and accountability and challenge, and a lot of kids aren't raised that way now. So that's the nature part, right? So the nurture is this end, the nature is the opposite. And you're gravitating, as you're getting older, more towards the nature part. And so that's why that argument's such a good argument, nature versus nurture, because what really, truly shapes us in the long run? Is it the nature or is it the nurture? Right now, nature is
no
shaping you. 100%
no
it is.
No,
100%.
I think it's still nurture. Because you can have a really shitty parental state and you can still be successful in life. So I don't think it's always nature.
I agree.
But I think it's more nurture. I disagree with you saying I'm leaning nature, because I am confident and independent in literally every other arena but the dating scene. I will argue with a man for the benefit of my friend's safety, but I will never ask a man out. Like, I am confident, I am independent, I walk places like I know where I'm going, even if I'm confused. Like, I'm confident in myself. I'm confident in navigating independence. I'm not confident physically in myself for the dating scene. Because we've talked about this. It's an insecurity that a lot of women have, where brunettes, gingers always lose to the blonde girls. Always. It's a tale as old as time. You lose to the blonde girls with the big titties. That's it. You lose to them. Okay, big boobies, if we're going to be PG about it. You lose to them every single time. Tanned, blue eyes, blonde hair, large cup size. That's it. You lose every single time. It doesn't matter how funny you are. It doesn't matter how smart you are. Because we've talked about this. Men are shallow. They go for what they see. And so I think over time, it's just an insecurity thing. It's like, why do I even try anymore? If a guy wants me, he'll come up to me.
That's
But
not
I'm not going to
true.
go up to him because then a blonde girl is going to walk by and all of a sudden I'm not interesting anymore.
Wow. That's a pretty big generalization.
That's how a lot of women feel. You look at a guy, if you see a guy out in the bar, say you find his Instagram because you check socials to make sure he doesn't have a girlfriend. If he does, guess what they look like? They're short with blonde straight hair, blue eyes, fake tan, and a nice figure. So then you're like, okay, well, there goes that. Or if you talk to a guy and all of a sudden you're ghosted and then he posts, guess what girl he posts? Guess what kind of woman he posts? It's literally tale as old as time. That's why I think that's part of it. Why I'm just like, nah, I'm not even gonna roll the dice. I'm gonna get snake eyes and it's gonna suck. Like, no.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I tend to think that in this age, it's kind of back either or, in my opinion. Like, I think if you find somebody attractive, you should be able to go up and talk to them. And listen, if they're like, hey, sorry, or whatever, then at least you know. It's kind of like a guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, guys, you want to talk about a tale as old as time? Guys walking up to some girl to talk to them and getting shot down. Like, that's a tale as old as time.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's an interesting argument. Like, how you're raised and the nurture part, how much does that influence you once you get out on your own, and the nature kicks in. I
still think it's nurture because I'm very like you and mom. There's times where I do something and I'll be like, oh, my dad told me to do that. Oh, my mom told me to do that. Or my dad reminded me I should know that. Like, that's all nurture stuff.
Yeah.
And that's how I operate the real world. So I think it's still nurture but then there are times where like I'll say something and I'll be like, that was my father.
I think it's cyclical. So you have to edit that together. I think it's cyclical to where I think if you have a strong parental figure in your life, it doesn't have to be your parents necessarily. It could be your uncles, your grandparents, however you get raised, right? Hopefully parents, but we know that there's a lot. A lot of things that happen nowadays. But anyway, I think it starts that way. I think nurture certainly shapes how you grow up, right? So, but then I think there's this time, and it's maybe it's late teens to mid 20s, which is right where you and your brother are, where nature takes a little bit more of a hold on you. Because, I was like you, I was scared of my parents, not because they would do anything, but there was consequences. And then when I got like into my late teens, certainly my 20s, I did crazy stuff. So the nature kicked in to where nurture, I didn't really care about the consequences of some of the stuff that I did, whether it was, whatever. It could be as stupid and innocent as jumping off my friend Jason Murphy's roof into his pool. I just did crazy stuff. Or you could go even further and be in my early 20s and some of the parties that I went to and some of the activities I partook in. And, I think nature kind of takes over. And then I think as you get older, that nurture part comes in slowly, and then when you become a parent, you're like, oh, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, and because you're just in awe of the fact that you're a parent, like it's such a trip.
Yeah.
And so there's no handbook for that,
Well, because like who actually is ready to be a parent? I read an article one time where it says the most said sentence in a labor and delivery room is, wait, I'm not ready.
Well,
because you can prep as much as possible, but then when you're giving birth, it's happening. And now it's like, you really have to do it now. So it's like, that's scary.
It
You
is.
can be like, I'm married, I'm financially stable, my frontal lobe is developed, let's do it. I've always wanted to be a parent. And then fathers probably freak out too, where they're like, wait, shit, are we even old enough to be doing this right now?
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
so
your mom and I had you old, we were older when we had you, obviously. I was 29 when you were born, right? Yeah. 29. And then your mom
29?
is 3 years older than me. So we were 29 and 32 when we had kids. So your mom and I both had fun in our 20s. I mean, we definitely didn't grow up too fast.
I know.
But
I've heard.
But nevertheless, you're
Because
right.
you guys shame me.
Yeah. Well, you got to enjoy it.
Bold.
So when you were born, it was like we thought we were prepared. Like, you certainly weren't a surprise. We were trying. But it was still kind of like, whoa, shut up. It was still kind of like,
You were trying is the nastiest sentence I've ever heard in my life, actually. It's so gross.
So, but once you're there, you're there, and then you try and figure it out. Like, what did your parents do now that you're a parent? What did your parents do that you want to continue to do? What's some things that you don't? How do you want it shaped? Like,
Yeah.
it's just interesting. But yeah, I think the nature versus nurture thing I think it's cyclical. Maybe it's not cyclical. I think it goes in waves, and then as you get into adulthood and parenthood, I don't think one side or the other is more prominent. I think they're equal, and professionally,
because being a parent is very nature. Like, that's what humans were meant to do, is reproduce.
Well, animals in general. Yeah, I mean, that's the driving force for hunger and shelter and procreating. I mean, if we want to get down to the bare bones, I think when you're young, nurture has a big is obviously the main factor. And then as you get older, there's periods where nature will creep in, even when you're in elementary school. Like, if you have a friend that doesn't do the right thing or something. Like, follow. Like, there's a lot of following. But then as you get into your teens and 20s, I think nature takes over, because you're exposed to things that you've never seen before. You know what I mean? Like, you moved to Columbia and experienced a different lifestyle down there, and now you're in Clemson and experienced a different life in there. So I think that nature part kind of, it's like, oh, I've never done that. Let's go do that, or and then as you get older, I think it's more of a combo. And I think there's times where I'm like, man, I sound just like my dad.
Yeah.
But then professionally, you tend to shape to the work culture that you're around. So, I worked for a company years and years and years ago where it was, I was managed through intimidation. Like, there was definitely a hierarchy. And so, that kind of trickled down to how I led. I was like, well, if he's able to lead that way, then I can lead that way. In some aspects of it, it's a little different. And so, that's where that nature part kind of still shapes you professionally, is you're in a culture of hundreds, if not hundreds of thousands of people, depending on the size of the company. And so there's obviously a work culture that shapes how you can manage, what you can manage, who you can manage, what you can say, what you can't say. You know what I mean? So so that's where the nature shapes it. But, then, when you're my age, you have more control over the nurture in that home. You know what I mean? So this is kind of like that safe space. So I think it's a combo. But anyway, your generation just baffles me you are the most photographed, open, transparent, posted, whatever generation in the history of mankind. But a ton of you can't even do the simplest things in public, like communicate. Like, it is so baffling to me And
I can,
it's
again, I can communicate. It's dating scene, but I just, for me, part of it's pride and ego. And
yeah, no shit.
I, I hold myself to a very high standard. So if I feel like I fall from that, like if I get rejected, I'm like, ooh. And so for me, it's just pride, ego. Cause I don't think that I'm not a catch. I'm going to be honest. I think I'm funny. I'm intelligent. I'm not ugly. I mean, I'm not Margot Robbie pretty, but I'm not but ugly. So I have some stuff to offer.
Right.
I'm decent.
Right.
So and I know how to have a good time.
Yeah.
So I think I'm relatively a catch. I've got depth and personality. A lot of people don't have that anymore.
Right.
So but so it is kind of almost an ego thing where I'm like, I'm the catch here. Which is very selfish, very not a great way to think. You can know your worth and then know you're not better than everyone. I don't think I'm better than everyone, but I do think that I'm the catch. So it's like
Yeah.
I don't know. But I'm also 21 and a woman, so that could be a very 21-year-old girl way of thinking. So where it's like I'm the catch, come approach me.
Yeah, but
You
your
know?
generation's evolved away from that. Not just yours, but like that traditional, the guy asking the girl out or whatever. That's been a thing that kind of went to the wayside a little bit with how we've evolved as a culture, right? I don't know. I haven't been in the dating world for 25 years, but
It sucks.
like, you ask a girl out, she says yes, you pay for the date, you pick her up, like very traditional, like almost a movie. And then somewhere that changed to where the woman was like, I'll pay for myself. I'll meet you there. And it's in movies all the time. So I'm just
I'll
going by
meet
what's in
there.
there and
I'm not
talking to
paying for it.
you. So it's like where is the how is a guy supposed to navigate who and what and how if women don't even know who, what,
I think
and
you just have
how?
to talk about it. Like if you
Wait,
do
what?
get to the point, I know.
You have
If
to
you do get
talk.
to the point of going on a date or something, you just have to discuss that. Like in my opinion, if the guy asks a girl on a date, he should pay. That's just feels standard to me. And you know what? If I ask a guy on a date, then I'll pay. I don't I'd rather not. And I'm hoping that I'd have a gentleman to where I'd reach for my wallet and he'd be like, "What are you doing?" Cuz then that's great. Um
Do those
but
guys
also like
exist anymore?
no. Um they're all broke actually. But that's why no one's asking anyone on dates. Everyone's broke, okay? Um no, but then also like we've talked about the safety factor nowadays.
Right.
So I say I'll meet you there as a safety thing so I can tell my like text you guys and be like, "Okay, I just got here. I'm about to join him in the restaurant." So just safety stuff so I know I'm in control. If I start to get a bad vibe, I can be like finish the dinner obviously cuz don't leave anyone alone at a dinner. That's just mean. Unless they're like dead ass giving vibes that they're going to kill you. Um But then, the constant question afterwards is, so what do you want to do now? You can be like, I had a really great time, but I'm a little beat. I got a long day tomorrow. So I think I'm just going to head home. And so you can drive yourself home. You're like, there's an escape out of the situation if it's not going how you think it should be.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, I
So that's
guess.
why that's why I'm one of those where I'm like, I'll meet you there. But then if there is a second date because everything did go well, then I don't have to do that. I'll meet you there. Like it's just a precaution.
Yeah, I get
Because
it.
there's been times that I've been stuck and I've been like, I need this man to go. Like he's got to leave me alone.
Hmm.
And I'm stuck because he picked me up. So it's like, what am I going to do?
Yeah. I get it. I mean, that's true. That's true forever. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
um, yeah, it's interesting. I don't know, but like at work, there's young people at work, and still talking to young people, it's just fascinating to me. Like there's such a vast difference in the fact, like you have some folks that are your age that are responsible, dedicated, very reliable, and they come to work and they get their stuff done, and they're, they'll do what you ask them to do, and they're like, yep, okay, no problem, as long, like we're not asking them to do anything that's not within their job, description. And then you have others where you the same way, and they just nod, like they don't affirm, they don't speak, they're just like, mm-hmm, and you're just like, okay, you're 22. Like, are you okay?
Well, I've trained people at work like that, where they just nod, and then I'll turn, I'll be like, no, you need to like tell me you just understood what I said.
Right,
because if you didn't, so if I didn't, I can reword it to where you do understand. But I need you to tell me. Because I had a server one time where I told them this whole thing, and they nodded along. I was training them. And then we were rolling silverware in the back because I had been cut. So I was recapping the night with them. And I was like, so do you remember when I told you like how to do this? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, okay, so tell me what I said. They can't tell me. I'm like, so you didn't understand when I said that. And I'm like, no, it's okay. Like, I don't mind you not understanding. Just tell me earlier so I can reword it for you.
Right.
In a way that you do understand the steps that need to be taken. Like,
yeah. I'm telling you, it's
I sympathize with my generation in a way. Like we talked about, we're the age of information, we're social media, the internet. And then COVID happened, which isolated us more and made us more reliant on the internet. I sympathize with my generation, but then also I don't, because it's like perseverance. Let's be above what they thought we were limited to, like do more.
Yeah, it's just
don't be relying on AI, please.
It's just like it's crazy.
Form of thought.
Yeah, it's crazy to me. Like I hate it. But that's part of, every generation changes, and those of us that are older have to adapt to it. I just think that the lack of communication or the ability to communicate, and then the social media isolationist part, and then the inability to have discussion leads to separation. And it could go downhill very quickly. And if this younger generation, yours and younger, doesn't start learning how to communicate and handle things and being resilient and challenge things and have discussion with disagreement that doesn't lead to absolute decisions,
chaos,
like just an agreeing to disagree, then I don't know, society wise, we're destined for some really challenged times in the future if we can't figure that out, And listen, you can apply that to anything. You can apply it to professionally. You can tie it to politically. You can tie it to religious purposes. Like if you can't have a discussion with somebody, and number one, if you can't just communicate day to day, that's all going to be a challenge. Then if you can't communicate thoughts and feelings and ideas and disagree, but it's okay, then that's another level of challenges, which leads to ignorance, which leads to damaging circumstances in some cases. And that could be true professionally. You get fired because you can't figure out how to communicate well. It could happen religiously to where you're kicked out of a church, or you know what I mean? Or it could happen politically, which is what happens now, the huge political divide, or it's just crazy that we can't figure that out. And listen, my generation's, we're no spring chickens, and we're not perfect in any way, shape, or form, but we were probably one of the last generations that actually had to communicate and actually had, like you and I joked about. Can you imagine when you were in high school calling your boyfriend and his dad answered and you had to talk to his dad for 5 minutes before he gave over the phone, like that's what we had to do. Like I would call a girl's
Yeah.
house and be like, "Hey, is so-and-so there?" And they were like, "Yeah. Can I ask who's calling?" "It's Scott." "Oh, hey Scott, how's it going?" "Good, Mr. or Mrs."
Yeah.
And they would literally talk to you like, "How's school? How's soccer going? How's your parents?" Like you would literally have to carry on a conversation, and you're like, internally, you're like, "I just really want to talk to her. Like
Yeah.
I'm dying here, So I know I'm sitting up here on a perch, like pointing down, like your generation. But the reality is, your generation never has had to deal with something like that, or it's very rare, So it leads to
Yeah.
this communication thing. So that's where that whole nature nurture thing comes in. No matter how much you raise your kids to be away, nature's going to
Yeah.
take some sort of influence. And so it's really like how much nature and how much nurture is it? It's weird. I think it's very individual. Obviously.
Yeah, I think it is individual, and I think there's enough of us good cookies left in Gen Z to where we can fix that. I mean, I see stuff on social media where it's like, so we agree we're not raising our kids like the millennials raised theirs. Because I think as Gen Z is growing up, we're kind of starting to wake up a little bit. Um, but I've said this for a long time. I don't think we were ever meant to be as exposed to information as we are. I think there's an overload of information, which causes an overload of emotion and beliefs. Beliefs in speaking on things that you really probably shouldn't be speaking about because you don't truly know.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I think causes a big divide. But I think part of that is just the overload of information. For example, smaller scale, but like I'm in South Carolina. I open my phone and there's a news article about a murder that happened in Oregon. There is 0 point, unless it's a mass shooting and everyone needs to be informed about that. There's 0 point that I should know about a homicide in Oregon.
Yeah.
It's nowhere near my life. And I'm not saying that in like a non-sympathetic or unempathetic way. I mean, God rest their soul. This is hypothetical, but
right.
I don't need to know about it. I'm sorry. It's too much. I don't need to know what's going on in Oregon. I don't. It's not my business.
Right.
So that's what I think is a big problem, is this overload of information to where everyone has such strong opinions, but nobody knows what they're actually having strong opinions about because there's so much information.
Yeah.
And if you talk to someone you disagree with, eventually they just talk in a circle and they'll end up just proving your point.
Yeah, that's true.
Like it's that's ridiculous because there's so much information that it's like there's too much opinion.
Yeah.
And for me to say that I'm a very opinionated person, for me to acknowledge that I'm too opinionated and a lot of people are too opinionated, it's a real problem. And I really do think it boils down to social media and the overexposure to news, and especially bad and aggressive news.
Yeah. No, that's a good perspective, because I agree. I think, not that event that happened in Oregon isn't worth anything. That's not what you're saying. But you're right, because when I was growing up, you had the local news.
Yes.
And then you had the national news. And so obviously 30 minutes of the national news, they couldn't pick every city in the country and have a story, right? So it was just the major news stories. So you're right. There is this element of too much information constantly at your fingertips.
Yes.
That leads to, I think, a lot of what you said, I agree. I think,
and it's almost dumbing us down, and that's why AI is so dangerous as well, because there's too much information. We don't know how to process it. So then guess what we do? We rely even further on a computer. It's exactly what they want us to do. And that's when I get conspiracyist.
Yeah.
Because
conspiracyist, that's not a word.
Yeah, that's my word. I become a conspiracy theorist because that's exactly what they want from us. They want us to dumb down. They want us to be overexposed to where we have to rely more on a computer. Like
or um
what the government says.
right. Right.
And, this is kind of a bad joke, but it was funny. I saw a news article, speaking of, that Iran threatened to bomb our open AI center in Abu Dhabi. All the comments were like, do it. Do it. Get rid of it. We're already. Guys, read Fahrenheit 451.
I know.
We're right there.
1984. I mean,
1984.
the Hunger
Animal
Games,
Farm. It's all there.
The Hunger Games.
Books.
Like,
guys, we wrote books and movies as to why we cannot rely on artificial intelligence.
Right.
And you guys are doing it. Because you think, oh, there's the movie. Now we know what not to do. But you guys are doing it. You are doing it.
Terminator.
They wrote those movies for a reason. It was a warning. So now you think you know how to avoid it, but now they also know how to rewire what they're doing and how they promote it to get you to want to do it.
We just took a whole left turn. We went from dating and communication and generation.
Well, we went to the age of information,
nurture,
and then
now we're in this whole friggin' crazy part. We'll have to.
It's just the truth.
Yeah, we'll have to maybe continue that conversation next week because there is a lot to unpack there.
Oh yeah,
but
my roommate and I talk about it daily.
Yeah, it's interesting. It is true. Mm-hmm. Like there's some serious fear. It is though. Like I follow a page on Instagram where it's like, good news from around the world that nobody's talking about. And I always share it with the family because it's not always doom and gloom. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, there's a lot of great stuff happening out there, but nobody knows because we only ever see the crap. You know what I mean? Like, it's such a bummer. But like, it's a good song. The largest UN climate conference has launched an initiative to protect tropical forests with an investment of $6.7 billion. Scientists from South Korea have developed a spray that can stop severe hemorrhages in just 1 second that could save thousands of lives. Kazakhstan is restoring the Aral Sea. Water levels rose by 42%, salinity fell by 75%, and fish are returning to the area. Mortality since 2013, mortality caused by air pollution has decreased 21% worldwide. So that whole greenhouse thing, maybe it's not so bad now. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. In Poland, public community refrigerators are helping people share food for free. So you know how like people put like, even in our neighborhood, there's a neighbor that has a box for books. So if you want to go do book borrowing or whatever, in Poland they have like public refrigerators. So if you want to donate some food, you can donate it, and people that are hungry can go get it.
It's wonderful.
Prada has officially stopped using real fur in their
clothing.
Shit! And here's a great one. For the first time in decades, Antarctica registered an increase in ice, over 100 billion tons in just 1 year.
Good. So,
a nurse donated part of her liver to save an 8-year-old boy she didn't know who was suffering from liver failure. Like, that's awesome. Like there's good news that's going on. Like, people are doing great things, but we're so inundated with bad news that you just think everything's falling apart, and it's like, no, there's good news out there. Find it, like,
yep.
And I love it because, you hear some parts of the population that talks about, climate change and global warming and we're doomed and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, no, because we've reduced air pollution by 21% in the last 13 years. That's pretty cool. Antarctica just has 100 billion tons more ice, which is fresh water, by the way, right? Yeah. So that's sustainable for the human race since we need fresh water to survive, right? And maybe we're not going to all blow up and die and the ozone layer is going to fry us. You know what I mean? Because that's that we heard that stuff in the past. So yeah. Anyway, we went sideways, but maybe next week we can talk about a little artificial intelligence and and
Yeah, because I'm
how we
I'm
use
well
it
prepared.
and how we use it and what we use it for,
Yes.
but what our fear is also.
Yes.
There's a lot to unpack there.
Yep.
There's a lot to unpack
And I'm
there.
well prepared for it. And then we can talk about your birthday.
Yeah, my birthday is next week. Yeah. Oh man, oh man.
It's okay. You can stay young for another week and then we'll talk about it.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'll tell you what. I'll lead into this. Obviously, I'm getting older. I make no secret about it. I'm in my 50s now, early 50s. Like I'm only going to be 51. But my body, I've abused this vessel of mine.
Yeah.
In my years, whether it was,
yeah.
Surfing and bodyboarding to playing soccer and every sport that you can imagine. I played them all when I was younger, to snowboarding, to weightlifting, to everything. And as you get older, my dad used to tell me, as you get older, something is always hurting you. And I was like, oh, come on, such an exaggeration. No, he was 100% right. So, my right shoulder, I have a torn labrum and a partially torn rotator cuff. I've needed surgery on it. I went to the doctor over a year ago, and they're like, you need surgery. I was like, I'm in no position right now to take that much time off. So I put it off. Well, now my shoulder's just a mess. And then, I hurt my right knee when I was younger. I had surgery on it when I was 16. And it's my right knee's fine, but my left knee is a hot mess. So the other day I walked over 16,000 steps at work, which is a lot. And I was bending, like I was squatting down and stuff. And I had to come home and ice my left knee. That's a sign that you're getting old, because you walk too much at work. And now you need to ice your knee. But I'm not lying. Like, my left knee is such a mess right now. It probably needs to be completely redone, which that'll take weeks. So I'm not doing that anytime soon. So
both of my knees are going to need to be replaced later on.
My buddy has both of his hips replaced already, and he's 50.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to need both my knees replaced.
Anyway, yes, it's my birthday next week. I think we're going out this weekend with friends of ours to celebrate it. So by the time our next episode
comes out,
my birthday will have happened. So yeah, we can talk about my birthday next week. Let's unpack AI. Go talk to people, communicate, find commonality, be courageous. You're going to get rejected, but it only takes one time. I got rejected a ton in my life, but your mom said yes. So it only takes once, So
stay kind, find the positive, talk to your friends, talk to your family, hug your loved ones.
Find those pages that give you good news. Like this one is the Soul Connect on Instagram. So I'm promoting them because it's good news from around the world that nobody is talking about. So the Soul Connect, if you want to look at their page and
good
see
news,
that there's good shit going on in the world.
But yes, stay kind, stay positive, hug your loved ones, and we'll see y'all next week to unpack AI.
Yeah. We're gonna solve.
All right. Yeah, we know everything, don't we?
Yeah, please tune in to our infinite wisdom.
Duh.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Y'all. Like, follow, comment, share. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you guys next week.
Thank y'all. Peace out. Nice.